everybody. So yeah, I want to talk about an application I built today and show you some parts of it. But first, let me quick introduce myself because I can do it better than just what happened here. Yeah, so my name is Ferran. I work as software engineer at CallStack. So basically, to sum up, I've been writing React Native for the past 3 years. Apart from consultancy that we do, we also contribute to open source libraries such as React Native Paper or React Native itself. And I'm such a fun guy that, you know, when I go home after working, I keep coding. And I did this small application for when I go to the gym. And yeah, that's what I want to show you today. It's called Fit Hero. So the first thing is why I did this. So some people is, why you do something like this? And for me, the answer is quite simple. So this is like a need for me. It's a necessity. And I also like writing React Native apps. So I told to people, you know, I like going to gym. And at the end, they told me, what you like is using the phone in the gym. So I built this app. But I think, jokes aside, the why is mostly, it might sound a bit selfish, but it needs to be useful for me. So this is also going to the open source. So if it's not useful for me, I would probably not work on it, or I will abandon it. And I know that some of my friends are also interested in this, so it might be useful for them, and maybe one day it will be useful for somebody else. But I think most important for you is what is the goal for this talk, so what I want to show you today. And I realize that every topic I will introduce you today, it's around those goals here. So it's about making the app feel and look native. This was like kind of my primary goal, and to avoid the users uninstalling the app. So I'm this kind of guy. When I install an app, I see it, and in less than a minute, if I don't like it, I remove it. So that would be the goal today. So I prepared this table of contents. It's not like a random order here, so everything goes from when you download an app and when you first open it, the app started time, how it looks, how it feels, and then how it works. Then I added a couple of things like the state persistence and using the platform that I'll show you too. And then I will talk a bit about releasing it to the App Store and Play Store and a few words of open source. So what about app startup time? I think we have talked about it this morning a little bit, so I'll try to be brief, but if I like to be clear that for me, you know, if you are building a native app or you're building a React Native app, if you're doing it well, it might take a bit more time to open the React Native app because there is an overhead. So with that, I want to say that you even need to be more careful, right, when you develop a React Native app to make it fast. And I think the React Native team, it's aware of that because they are working in things like turbo models, Fabric, and also Hermes, right? So I think people take this serious. But I don't want to talk about the future, but the present or when I did this, right? So it's real quick. Probably you're familiar with this. When you do React Native init right now, maybe you add React Native navigation, write some screens. When you open your app, it might look something like this. Because this is the default background, right? Something like white, and then when the JS is ready, you will see the content. And as you can see, my app has this blue background, and it doesn't look really nice, right? And it's quite easy to just Google, how do I change that? And you need a couple of native changes. Here, it's for Android. I will show more Android stuff because of the time we have here, but the same concepts apply with iOS. So if you Google about it, you will find something like this, which is not even Java, it's like JSX kind of thing, right? And the first color is for this status bar you saw there, that was gray. And the other one is what it says, the window background. So we changed this white color, right? And then we got something like this, which still looks, it looks better, no? Like the small thing look a bit better. Still, there is an empty screen there, and it feels like nothing is happening. So I was thinking, okay, what to do? And you're probably thinking you have to show maybe a splash screen. It's good for branding and so on. So because I think React Native at the end is a native app, I was looking how to do this on Android, how to do it natively. So I watched this video. I applied the concept. Instead of using a color as background, you use an image as background. So you got something like this. And what is interesting here is that the first time I open the app, I see the splash screen. Let's see it again. And then when native is ready, it will remove it, and still I will see this empty background, and then the JS is ready will show the content. So I'm almost there following those instructions from the native people, but not ready yet. So what did I do to achieve this detail I wanted? So as I said, I used this image as window background, and then I had to, fortunately or not, maybe for me it's not, but I had to change some native code. So what I did is created a native view with XML that it looks the same as the image background, and then a small native module to tell you native, hey, I'm ready. Yeah? When the JavaScript is ready, you can send some signals to native, and then we will show that. And in this point where you write something native, for me it's a static splash screen, but here you could have a nice animation that will maybe fade when the JavaScript comes and goes to the, the toolbar or something. So I just did a fade animation here, and yeah, what I had to do is, after you do the React Native init, I had to override this React activity that comes with and expose a native module to switch views. And I achieved something like that, so I will show now the production version, which is a bit faster, right? And you will see the splash screen appearing, and then there is a nice animation. And I didn't do any performance improvement, nothing like improving an algorithm or making it faster, but it kind of looks better and it feels faster than the previous one you had here. So it's basically this is the summary of this talk. I'm going to show you like the small native things that I feel makes the app better. So yeah, it took quite a lot of time to open the app, but let's see how is the next step. And this one is about styling and theming. So as I told you, I kind of come from Android background before going to React, and I also work in React Native Paper, which is a React Native library for material design that works on Android and iOS. So this is the one I chose. I did this app alone, and I didn't have like the design team or not much idea of design principles, so I choose something that is there. So it's about React Native Paper. You can check it out. And I always say about Paper, that it has these 3 key concepts. And it might seem not important, but it really makes a difference. So there's platform adaptation, full theming support, and accessibility and right-to-left support that I will tell you what it's about. So platform adaptation, when you use this library, when you use a button or text, it will look how the material design is telling you that it needs to look also on iOS. So for example, here you have the save button on the top. So by default, for Android, it has a background. It has an uppercase text. On iOS, it's lowercase. Also, there is this title. It's a bit cheating because this is React navigation, so they also provide you with the platform adaptation because this title is center, in Android is not. Then we have the radio buttons from Paper, so they look how they need to look on Android, and on iOS they look like checks, and all of that is based from Google Guide, so it's also in Paper. And there is also about accessibility. So thing is, Paper components are accessible. So for example, here I use the bottom navigation. And if you would use a screen reader, it will tell you this is the first tab from 3, it's a button, you can navigate to home. And the important thing of this is, so when you create your own components, you still need to make them accessible. But it was easier for me, it was easier for me because Paper already are, and I use a lot of them. And the real problem is that if you use a components library that is not accessible, it might be not possible to make it accessible if you cannot pass the right props, right? So Paper give you that. And also, what about this full theming support? Why I think this is important? So I think this dark theme came recently, right? There is the Android Q offering it. So dark theme has been in Android for quite a while, but now with Android Q they introduced like a full dark theme for all your your settings, all the apart from apps, and then the iOS 13 also brings it. So I was thinking it would be nice to offer a full black version of the apps for battery purposes, to save battery. And with Paper was quite easy. Basically, you have a provider from React Native Paper, and you pass a theme. Theme is just some colors and settings. So in Paper, we already offer the light theme and the dark theme. So you can pass the dark theme and override maybe some primary color for your branding. And then we have this high order component with theme. So you can use that in your own components, and you will get the theme by props. And when you change that, all your app will be updated. So So basically, I created a setting for that, and when you change it, it goes to the default theme to full black, and it was almost there. But as you can see, the toolbar was it not, and it's because I'm using React Navigation, but bear with me because I was lucky enough to go to App.js in Krakow, and I was talking to Bren about this, and actually he came up with a guide in React Navigation because this is possible, and I suggest you to take a look, but basically you have to use these screen props from React Navigation that you pass to your outermore navigator, right? And then basically in every screen you can access it, screenprops.theme, and you can update your toolbar. So with that, we are almost done, but I want to be like pixel perfect here, and also, especially for Android, if you change the theme, you also need to take care of the status bar, and React Native already has it. I think it's extracted now, but anyway, you can use it imperative way. I haven't found a reason to use status bar declarative, but you can do this. And then you will get the full black support there. And it actually works for Android and for iOS, and I think it's pretty cool that it was so easy to do. And not only that, but there is a concept, about night mode or battery saver. So, for example, we have a Reddit app. I'm pretty sure you know it. And when you activate this battery saver on Android, in this case, the app goes full black, so it will not spend so much battery. And then when you change it again to the default theme light, it will come back. So if you, again, this app, it's a native app at the end of the day. You can have a listener, native model, and when you activate this battery saver, it will go full black, and when you deactivate it, it will go to default theme. And I don't want to say that it works better than Reddit, but I think it works pretty cool. So yeah. So we saw when the app starts and how it looks and feels. So let's say the user still like it and keeps using it. And then I want to talk about functionality, the core of an app. And I guess all of them are different, but this one is all about going to the gym, do some training, and write your progress in there. So it's all about saving data and showing it to you in a nice way. So I needed a database. And somehow when I look for database React Natives out there, it's the most popular thing is about Redux and Redux persist. And maybe it's because I'm coming from native. I didn't see a point to using that because it's all about saving everything into memory, serialize it, and restore it. And I think that's not the real point of database. And I actually wanted to use something from the native side. So I'm more about talking about SQLite or relational versus no relational, doing queries on the native side. And so the moment I did this app, the moment I did this app, there was like 1-2 solutions. There was Realm, there was Watermelon DB was starting, but not really couldn't find more because I think majority of companies or the companies I work with, they have a brownfield app, they have like already some native database and they create bridges, right? So everyone has their user case, but I use Realm as you saw before, and it worked pretty okay for me. They keep updating the app. They are very responsive. They keep updating with the latest React Native version, and sometimes that's not that easy for maintainers. And with Realm, it works right now. So it has all this. I really like it because it has a similar concept that Flux had. So it's very reactive in a way that you have one single data flow. So you write into the database. You can have listeners that get updated for the specific queries. You can sort, you can filter, and so on. And about backup and restore, I will also talk because I think it's important. But before, I want to thank React Native hooks, because I was in React Conf, and when I was doing this app, I was handling this database with, I felt smart to write a high order component, which it didn't work well because I wanted to do more than one query or query depending on each other. So I end up updating this high order component more than the code. Then I thought I'm gonna write data provider component that renders null, and it will take care, it will feel smart to use it declarative, and then I end up needed to use component will receive props because when I change an argument from the query, needed to, I don't know, and then the component will receive props was deprecated. So anyway, I wrote this hook here. I hope there are no mistakes, but basically it's making a query that's a listener. So when this listener is hit, you execute a function, and then it removes a listener when it's unmounted, and it depends on the query. So if you change the query, it will do all the component will receive prop thingy. So I'll not explain how it works, but it's very well explained in the React conf. And basically then in my components, they get pretty simple, right? They could do any kind of query altogether. Those queries can depend on each other. So here, for example, if this type will change, this will rerun again, and it will just work. And with that, I didn't find any problems with it, and I just want to show you how basically the app works. So you have an empty screen, and you could add some exercise, and everybody likes to go to gym and do some squats, right? So here, when we click add, there is a listener here that will get updated from database. So it's not going, I don't know, to the local state or Redux or anything. In the history, it will also be updated, and then when we go back to the previous screen, there is also a listener. So as you can see, it works pretty fast, and it's pretty like reactive concept. And so if you don't want to, you know, because I think bridging your own database solution on iOS and Android is not easy. So Realm did pretty good job, in my opinion, if you need a non-relational database. So what about backup and restore? And this is the last step here. So thing is, I didn't find many React Native apps about that. And so what happens if you use this app, you keep adding that data there, and after 1 year you switch your phone or got lost, and you lost all the data, and I know what will happen. So you will go to the store and you do this. So here, I want to thank to Expo, because I said at the beginning, I started this app with React Native init. So at that time, if you do that, you couldn't use any code you couldn't use any model from Expo. And this is not true anymore, because they released these React Native uni models, which is like a collection, huge of native models. So from there, I could use file system and document picker. So just to handle files and to read and write them. So with that, it was pretty okay to create this backup section here. So I could save it, I don't know, Google Drive. I can send it in Telegram if I want, if somebody wants to use it. And then I can go to an iPhone phone, and I can use this document picker from Expo, and I can just restore it. And what is important from here, or what is nice from here, is that you are owning your data, right? I don't force you to log in, to sign up, to synchronize it somewhere. So somehow you can save it. You can even, this is just a JSON file that you can use if you want. And I know the next step will be to do this automatically on the background, but at least there is a way to do it and not lose your data. Yeah, so with that, we covered a lot of stuff here. And the other things are like those little things that I notice when using the app, because I'm using it like a lot of times per week. And if you do that, you would notice some stuff. And I don't want to talk a lot of navigation here, but just about state persistence, and navigation is kind of related. So let me show you this. This pure native app. It's called Audio Profiles. I wrote this in pure Java back on the day. And you know, when you, in iOS it might work the same, but on Android, I can explain you that when you open the app and go to some screen, I don't know, this is the text input widget, you write something, then there is the slider widget, you change it. And then you're using the app, you will minimize it, and maybe you open some other apps like, I don't know, Facebook or Instagram, and they're quite memory consuming. The thing is that when you do that, at some point, Android might decide to free resources. And then when you come back to the app, it's the native side responsible to restore all the state. So it will restore the screen you were, the widgets, the position, the text. So this is a command to simulate the Android destroying your app. So you can write like this with your package name. And then when you open it, you will see that it starts again. But I was I'm in the point when I was before. So after using Fit here on the gym for a while, I realized this was pretty annoying. It was not happening like that. So in the React Native app, the way it's built, the way the native code is written, the native doesn't persist or restore the state. So it's supposed to be, the JavaScript side is supposed to be for the JavaScript to take care of it. So of course, if I show you this one here, I open it, I go to another screen, I search for some exercise. I will minimize it in the gym. Of course, I will be in an Instagram for half an hour. And when I open it, it will not be where it was. And to be honest, this was really annoying for me. So there are two things here, which is I'm using React Navigation, so I want to persist the navigation state, and I want to persist maybe some other state like this search query here, right? So for React Navigation, it's pretty easy. They expose this persist navigation state and low navigation state now. So you can save it wherever you want. You can do it in the example is done in the async storage, but you can pretty use, I don't know, share preference or anything you would like to save it, and then you can restore it. And where I restore it is, well, the splash screen is showing. So one nice thing of the splash screen is that you can do all the dirty work there that you need before removing it. But that was not enough, because as you saw on the pure Android example, it was persisting widgets also. So I decided how to do this, and you might think just save it all the time, but I kind of did it a bit different. So I use this upstate module. This is a module from React Native that is actually a listener that tells you when the app goes into the background. And I put this listener for every screen, and every screen decides what part of the state for that screen is saved. So I save that state with a timestamp. I don't know, how long do you, if you go to gym and you train, probably you are like 4 hours there, so you can use this timestamp like 4 hours. And I decide to, if you open the app, you check this timestamp with this limit, this 4 hours, and if it's smaller, you restore it, if not, not. And I don't want to share all the code, but I'll share it with you like after the talk. It will be all for you. So basically with that, I can actually, it actually works. Like you will look for something, you will minimize it. So React Navigation takes care of the screens. I take care of the widgets. They are native widgets at the end of the day, right? So here I simulate, I kill it. And when I open it, I will be where I was. And I haven't found a lot of information of people doing this, but I tell you, if you use the app like every day, you could notice this. And I'm using a Pixel 2, which I think it's not like a mid-Android phone, and it happens a lot. So this is one of the things. The other things, which is also one of my favorites, a bit controversial, is like about using the platform. So I think I actually told you a lot about using some native code, using a little things that are native. So yeah, actually you can use the native platform. And I have this tweet from Eli. I actually asked him permission that you don't have to use JS all the time. You can use native, it makes sense. I also would say you can use native if you are not in the mood to rewrite it in JavaScript, and I would, stick it to remember. So one example, like real quick, like charts. So as I told you in this app, I save data and I want to show it in a nice way, so I want to use charts. So I've been asking around in my team what to use for charts. Yeah, they said, no, there are some libraries out there, some JS solution, JS kind of solution, because you have to link React Native SVG. So I had a tons of problem there with non-native animations, slow to load at the beginning. When I was clicking this chart, if this was inside a scroll view, I had a lot of problems. So they told me you could use a React Native ART. So the problem was that when I was doing this, this package was not extracted yet, so it was kind of a dark place without documentation or anything. So I didn't go there. Somebody told me, why don't you use a web view? Then, yeah, web view with E3 and stuff, and I said no. And then I said, why if I use native, right? Because I have native apps, my phone, they have beautiful charts. Can I use them? And I think yes, because it's still a native app, right? And I wrote here that there are silent heroes out there. I was looking for like the most popular native libraries. I found those two. This is the Android one and iOS, and they have like more than 20,000 K-stars, so I was thinking probably they are good. But yeah, here, if you want to bridge them, you need knowledge of Android and iOS, right? But I found this silent hero, this package here, which has a super beautiful name. It's pretty clear for me, React Native char wrapper. And it's actually a wrapper to those two native libraries with a common API. So with that, I was able to create those graphs. I could do native animations. I could pinch. I could zoom. I could do anything. And it worked pretty well. So it means, and this one is also pretty nice. And does it mean that if you want to create charts in your app, you need to use native code? I think no, but my whole point is that you have the choice. Like you have the choice to use JS solution. You can use a web view. You can use native too, right? And I kind of want to say that when you do React Native init, usually we say in React Native init is a greenfield app, but I think it's not. It's actually a brownfield. You have access to the native code, and you can do all that stuff. So if you feel lazy, to write it in JavaScript or that kind of stuff, you have the choice here. Okay, so before going to the moon, which is actually the Play Store, real quick, what about this work is so complicated for me. This is about offering your app in different languages, right? So I told you I come from Android world, and I work in a lot of apps, and all the texts are hard-coded. And when you work in the native code and you hard-code the text, you got this warning, like, why are you doing this? You cannot translate it. So I found pretty easy to offer my app in different languages. So you can use the React Native localize. This is a package from React Native community. You need that, and this is a native model, just to know what is the language of your phone, what is the language the user is using, right? And then when you know that, you can use any translation JavaScript library, because you are handling the translation in JavaScript. So I use that one here, int.js. And the setup is like this. This is a file with the setup. So basically, it's this React Native localized. It's trying to find your best available language of your phone. So I support right now English and Spanish. And if your phone is in a different language, it will go to the fallback, which is English. So you set up that stuff, and you can write, instead of hard coding strings, you can just write it in this way. And of course, so if you have the app like that, you change the phone language, the app is supposed to change the language. And there is like some problems here with Android. It's faster than iOS, but the way Android is set up in React Native, it doesn't kill the app, let's say. So you need to take care of, hey, the language saying you have some listener and change the language. So as you can see here, it's Spanish. In iOS, it's going to take a while. It's like doing some other operations, but it's going to kill the app. But when you open it, you will have it in Spanish. So just make sure, like, if you translate the app, that when you change the language, it's going to be in the correct one. And as I said, all the code is actually there for that. So we have like, okay, I have like 2 minutes. It's good. We have like, we open the app, we see how it looks, how it works, some detailed stuff. So this app, at the end of the day, it achieved the first goal I had, which is being useful for me. And then if it's useful for somebody else, it's good. So what about going to the App Store? I was thinking, should I talk here about, I don't know, the permissions or the money you need to spend in the Apple Store? But I thought it's not necessary, because if you make a mistake here, you can revert it. So I thought about talking of the only mistake you cannot do when you go to the App Store, which is this package name or bundle ID. So this package name is forever. And I'm going to show you 3 package names. So this is Facebook, this is WhatsApp, this is Instagram. And why it's not com Facebook, WhatsApp, com Facebook, Instagram? Because it was not from Facebook at the beginning, no? They bought it, so not even Facebook can change the package name. So can you? I don't think so. Just be aware of it. All right, so what about open source? You might think, why do you talk about open source here? And I was actually thinking to open source this app. And the people are telling me that you're crazy, maybe you want to put some premium features so you can make some money and so on. But to be honest, I'm pretty sure that if you are playing with this app for a while, any of you are great developers, I'm pretty sure you could copy it. It's not a problem. And I actually use React Native, it's open source. I use all these charts libraries. I use everything which is open source. So I was thinking about the benefits, and also I have some experience in the market, and I know if somebody doesn't want to pay, they will not pay. They will just go maybe to the black market there. And I decided it might be better to open source it because people could help me. Even that, I would probably not accept an issue that says, why don't you migrate to TypeScript? Because, yeah. Yeah, okay. So I open source it. You can find all the code there. Thank you. You can find you can find all the code there. I know I should have shown maybe a bit of more code, but it's complicated with the time. But everything is there. I think it's nice to give back to all of you because, to be honest, if there was not for React Native team, created React Native, the community who maintains it, all the library creators, this will not exist. So thank you, everybody. And another thing, make sure if you build a nice app, just pay to some designer some money to make a nice icon. Because you go to the store, and when the icon really stands out, you even download it for the icon. And if it looks bad, I don't download it. So just make a nice logo there. And it's open source. So just to wrap up, I want to do some final remarks. And I want to stress that for me, you know, everybody here is React Native developer probably, or want to be. And we care that this app is in React Native. That is nice. When we are in Twitter, we also are very proud to say, I write this in React Native. But when you go to the real users, if they don't really know this is React Native, in my opinion, it kind of means that you're doing it well. So I think that was everything that I wanted to focus on that aspect. What I wanted to also recommend you is this talk with Chris Ball. So it was here in Chain React in 2017, and it has a, oh, you're here, hi. So there are a lot of concepts here, even more that I show that they still apply today. So I would really recommend it. It was an inspiration for this talk. So yeah, now I did this app, and to be honest, when I started being developer, I had this kind of strange dream that I will go to the public transport where everybody uses the phone, and I would see somebody using my app, but I think now I will change that to see somebody in the gym. So this is from 2014, and if you change this for an AirPods, this is still valid. So yeah. I invite you to check the repository. And to wrap up, you know, as I said, I work at Costa. We are upstairs. Mike, Anna, me, you can go there if you have any questions. I'll be happy to chat with you about it. We also have this React Native U conference in Poland on September. We have discounts there. If you want to keep hearing nice talks about React Native, I would invite you there. So yeah, thank you very much.